Well, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining the call. This is Jeremy Robson from Securities America Advisors. We have Todd Gallett from AdvisoryWorld on the line today to give us a demo and show us the platform that AdvisoryWorld offers through Albridge, Redtail, and from a direct perspective. And to give you just a very brief background to AdvisoryWorld, Securities America has had a relationship with AdvisoryWorld for the last 1.5 to 2 years, a very productive one. We've got a number of advisors using the platform successfully, and we thought that it'd be a great time to reignite our marketing efforts and really get the awareness out of this very valuable tool that can be used in tandem with Albridge. And with that, I'll turn it over to Todd, and then he'll drive us through the platform, and I'm sure he'll open it up for questions at the end of the session. Todd?
Yeah, excellent. Thank you, and thank you all for taking the time to hear this brief presentation. And at a very high level, for those who aren't familiar with what AdvisoryWorld or our SCANalytics application does, is we focus on risk analysis on your clients' current portfolios or prospect portfolios. And we do everything from trailing performance, MPT statistics, asset allocation analysis, sector exposure, etc., and also allow you to do model proposals as well. So in addition to being able to look at a snapshot of what a client's current holdings look like, you're very easily within a couple clicks able to create proposals to compare your investment strategy or what we'll make available to Securities America's models very easily compared to what a client or a prospect currently has. And what's great about our application is that's available through a variety of different sources, a couple of which we'll touch on today. The big one being Albridge. So for those of you who are using Albridge today, once SCANalytics is enabled for you, you'll be able to access not only our holding scan report, so the analysis that I just mentioned, but also fact sheets on any of the underlying holdings of your client portfolios. So once again, if you're just right in a client account here, once SCANalytics is turned on, if you click on any of the account numbers, you're going to be able to see the opportunity to create the PDF of both the holding scan or the fact sheets on the underlying holdings. So it's a seamless integration. But for the same value, you also get access to our SCANalytics application, the web-based version. So I'm going to walk you through that because that really shows you the complete functionality of the tool. And all the reports that we create through the SCANalytics application will, as you saw, be pulled in directly through Albridge. So I'm going to walk you through that in a few minutes so you can really how easy and flexible it is to use. So right off the bat, in addition to being able to pull our reports through Albridge, you can also import data from Albridge into our application. So again, the goal there is to really free up time as far as searching out assets or typing in tickers to create the hypothetical from the beginning. By being able to import directly from Albridge, we're able to pull in your client's holdings and allocation directly. So it saves you that additional step of manually creating this from scratch. But if you do so, once again, if you're having, say, a client or a prospect come in with a statement, it's very easy to walk through the 5 steps of our application. The first one being searching out tickers or QSIPs. So once again, if you list 20 different tickers off of a statement, you just click Find, and we are able to go out and search those. In addition to that, you also have access to a full list of asset categories. So as you'll see when this list pops up, the amount of data we make available to you seamlessly is pretty all-inclusive. Anything from, we've talked about mutual funds, stocks, variable annuities, ETFs, even if you want to get into bond data or SMA data, all that data is already available for you within our application. We also offer even a screener tool. So in addition to just doing the trailing performance or hypothetical analysis, we even have like a research component of this, where you can then say, okay, I want to go across all of the asset categories that we make available to you, or maybe you want to focus again on, let's say, mutual funds. And you want to find mutual funds that are large cap growth funds and that have had a greater return over the last 10 years than 10%, and have a certain expense ratio, whatever it might be. You have a complete list of kind of detailed criteria that you can set, and be able to go out and start searching new investments that you might want to add to, let's say, a model or a particular investment strategy. So once we have the assets found, and I have a sample here, the next step is going to be the allocation. So once again, if we're pulling it in directly from Albridge, or if you're running these reports through Albridge, you won't have to do these first two steps. We'll already know the allocation. But again, if you're doing it for a prospect, within a couple clicks you can get this created for them. Once again, you can do it either by dollar value, right off a statement, or as a percentage of the portfolio. So pretty straightforward how to get the allocation. It's automatically going to reinvest dividends and capital gains where applicable. And the only last thing you need to determine here is the time horizon. So we offer different than any other providers. Normally with hypothetical analysis or trailing performance, usually you go to the common inception date or a fixed period of time. Let's say each of them has a significant amount of history. You can pick a specific period of time. But for portfolios that have newer investments, ETFs, SMAs, you'll see here the common inception date is only 11 of 2012, so we have very limited history. What we allow you to do in the SCANalytics application is piggyback the closest asset index and take the index back as a proxy. So it gives you additional history there to compare the whole portfolio. So again, what we're able to do then is take what the SMA is of 2012, attach it to an index, and bring the history back to 2006, which again just extends the amount of history that we can do the analysis on for this entire portfolio. The next section is fees. So once again, very easily you can add any additional fee structures that you might have. So these are not the actual fund fees. Those are actually included already in our analysis. But if you have any additional asset-based fees or sales charges, those can be easily added here and included in the analysis. Or even for a prospect, if they're being charged quite a bit by their current advisor, it's a great way to do this proposal or comparison where you can include what they're currently being charged. So once again, it's very easily you can add a wrap fee or any specific transaction fees, front end, back end, etc., and add that to the hypothetical. Lastly, before we run the report, is cash flow. So once again, this is historic. This will be the ability to create or to add any historic contributions or withdrawals. So for example, if this client has been adding $500 a month to this portfolio, you can add that in here. Or if they took a one-time withdrawal 10 years ago of $20,000, you can add that in to include it in the rate of return calculations. But just like that, as you can see, within a couple clicks, we've created a brand new portfolio, or even easier if you were importing this data from Albridge. And then we get right into the reports, which is really the meat of this. So once again, these reports are going to be available not only through this web-based, also through Albridge, and through some of the other partners that I'll talk about at the end. But the reports are pretty much categorized into four main reports. It's the holding scan report, Compariscan, detailed analytics, and the fact sheets. So I'm going to walk you through briefly each one and give you a taste of the type of analysis that we're running here. So the first one is the holding scan, once again, also available through the Albridge platform with one click. And this allows you to compare a current portfolio versus a benchmark of your choosing. So with the benchmarks, you're able to choose any index that you want to include. You can choose a weighted benchmark. And the weighted benchmark is basically going to take the allocation of your client's portfolio and based on that choose particular indexes that coincide in the same allocation. So again, you can choose whether you're doing that or you want to do the S&P 500. You can do either. We'll do the S&P just for argument's sake for this call. And let's run that report and I'll give you a flavor of what that looks like. So again, what you'll not only notice is the quickness of setting it up, but also the speed you're able to run these reports. So again, here you're able to see the holding scan report. And I do make note that what is nice is that you're actually able to brand these reports as well. So any kind of colors, logos, etc., is all completely brandable by the office. Whether it's Securities America branding or if you have individual office branding, you're able to do that. So here you can kind of see the breakdown of our reports. Again, we start with macro allocation and asset allocation. Then down into trailing performance, again, based on the time horizon. You can see this portfolio relative to the S&P 500. We talk about the risk return, so we have the MPT statistics. on the portfolio, best worst case analysis, fixed income properties. I'm just kind of going through some of the highlights here. Top 10 equity countries, top 10 equity sectors. So we talk about sector exposure. And then we even get down into overlap analysis, something similar to a Morningstar X-ray report, where you'd be able to see if a client is heavily invested, let's say in Apple, it would show if they're invested multiple times in the same security. So if there's overlap there, Apple might be invested in 3 different mutual funds as well. It would show you that on this report and the percentage of the total portfolio. And down into the kind of detailed asset allocation analysis. So that is the holding scan report. The next one is the CompareScan, and this is really key for Securities America reps because we already have loaded the Securities America models. So again, within a couple clicks, you're very easily able to pull from any of those models and compare it to a client's current portfolio or a prospect's portfolio. So once again, with the parameter CompareScan, you're able to take the current portfolio that we're looking at and then go in and compare it to a model. So once again, when a Securities America rep signs up for this, you'll already have the models preloaded here, so it makes it very easy for you to select one. So again, I'm just going to select one here. We're going to identify that as the proposed, and we're going to show you that. So again, this makes a great proposal tool for any current or prospect clients. So once again, on the CompareScan report, you see a similar layout, but we allow you to see it side by side or present it to a client side by side. Here again, you have the asset allocation differences, also the macro allocation, trailing performance, the current portfolio relative to a benchmark and your proposed. Worst case. And then we get down into the MPT statistics. So really clear, you're able to demonstrate to a prospect, for example, that maybe over the last couple of years they've had maybe some decent returns, but they're taking on a whole lot of risk relative to maybe what you propose as an alternative, for example. And then again, similar sections with the fixed income properties, equity exposure, sector exposure, et cetera. And then down into the asset allocation. Here you see on this example that the overlap of Chevron. It wasn't an example before, but here you can see that Chevron has actually invested 3 different times in this client portfolio. The third one, before we get into the fact sheet, is the detailed analytics. And the detailed analytics can actually be run either as a single portfolio analysis or a comparison, but it really gets down into a granular level as far as the analytics that we're running on these. But what's nice is that you at the advisor level can really customize this. Different than any of our competitors, you have complete customization over the deliverable. So based on how granular you want to get with this report, you can actually take out or add in different sections. In addition to this, we also have not only the hypothetical analysis, but we also add in a Monte Carlo simulation. So in the detailed analysis report, we actually have some foreshadowing based on historic returns, and it allows you to add some cash parameters to say that starting today, if you wanted to retire in 2043 and start taking out $50,000 a year, what your probability of success might be. So certainly not replacing something like a Money Guide Pro or an eMoney, but a nice add-on to this report for a client. So I'm going to run you through that real quick as well. So even with this detail, you can see how quickly these reports run. Once again, we're going to start up top, and this is going to be actually a single portfolio relative to a blended benchmark. So it shows you how each allocation compares to its closest index. Here are Lipper funds that it's comparing it to, both from return standard deviation and Sharpe ratio. And then you get the actual graphical representation of that, trailing performance relative to the blended benchmark. On the detailed analytics, you actually get a little more details. On the MPT statistics, we get into drawdown, up market capture, down market capture, as well as some additional graphical representations. So again, quite a bit more information. This actually is really a valuable tool. A lot of advisors like this because this on this one-pager basically shows the portfolio in black and white. It says this has been your returns on this portfolio based on what it's worth today. What would the anticipated value be 5, 10, 15 years? But on the flip side, what's your probability of loss on this portfolio? So again, taking the focus off of off of return and putting it more on risk sensitivity of the client. And then continuing down to, again, distribution of returns, some other graphical representations of these portfolios. And then two other sections would be the drift analysis. So again, this is basically showing the makeup of returns historically based on each allocation. And then you get into the Monte Carlo simulation. So those are the three main reports. And the last one would be the fact sheets. And once again, what's nice about the fact sheets is that you're able to pull these right through Albridge. So not only, again, if you're working with this in our application, but if you wanted to see a fact sheet on an underlying security, on Apple, for example, you can actually just right-click inside of Albridge, and they'll be able to run any of these fact sheets. But what's really nice that a lot of advisors use for clients is the one-page fact sheet of the portfolio as a whole, which I'm going to show you, because that basically gives all the specific analytics, but condensed down to the one page. So it's a really kind of clean one-page report that you can create and deliver to a client or a prospect. So I'm going to show you that now. So once again, what you see here, very similar to our holding scan report, but condensed down, is that one-page fact sheet, the entire portfolio. So on one page, you get everything from the MPT statistics, including drawdown, up and down market capture, trailing performance. You're getting the asset allocation, sector exposure. You're getting all those kind of key points, but on one page. That's a really nice presentation that you could provide to a client, or just look at yourself, as well as then all the underlying holdings. So here again, you see that fact sheet for Apple. So that is the analytics application. Now, as I also mentioned, there's a model component. So again, we're already automatically making available to you the Securities America models, but you also have the ability to optimize your own models. So within the SCANalytics application, you also have access to the model dashboard. And what's great about the model dashboard is it allows you to create these models and then optimize it. So you can kind of create and add an additional an initial allocation, and then optimize it. So using our optimization engine, we can maximize return and minimize standard deviation on your holdings. So again, it's a way for you, whether you're using something as a starting template or you want to work and create your own models to use as proposals, it makes it really easy and functional for you to do that, and then use that ComparaScan report to present it to your clients. So as I mentioned, this is going to be available to you through a variety of different sources. The first one, as we talked about, is Albridge. We also have a bunch of exciting new integrations that are available to you today. Right now, any of you are using Redtail. Our Redtail integration just went live and has been really popular already to date. Because what it allows you to do is, if you're a Redtail user and you pull in data into Redtail, you can go to a client and, similar to Albridge, you can pull any of our reports or fact sheets directly through Redtail without having to go into an additional application. So again, if you're in Redtail and you want to go up to the account section, you're going to see holding scan and the fact sheets available to you right in PDF. So you're able to pull fact sheets on any of the underlying holdings, or that holding scan, that one-page analysis of your client's portfolios. Now, in order to view those, you do need to be signed up for SCANalytics and have your username able to be plugged in. But as part of the sign-up process, whether you do it through Albridge, you do get your own SCANalytics username and password, and you would need that in order to get this set up, but there's no additional charge. Again, what's really key to us with our integrations is that for one cost, you get to access our reports and our analysis through any channel. And I guess I'll speak to that now. Our application is $95 a month. So again, relative to something like a Morningstar, it's significantly less expensive with pretty much the same, if not more, customization and functionality. So for $95, you get access to Albridge, so the integration with Albridge, the access to our reports through Albridge. You get access to our web-based platform, and any of our other solutions that integrate our reports. So Redtail, for example, there'd be no additional charge to link that and pull our reports through there. We also integrate through MoneyGuide Pro, Salesforce, eMoney, a variety of different platforms. So I encourage you, if you have additional questions, or regardless, to reach out, and we certainly can discuss those in more detail. For everyone on the line here, we're going to be offering free trials of our solution. So once again, I encourage you to please take advantage of that. I'll be walking everyone through individually so we can schedule time and make sure you maximize the opportunity with the free trial. And even things like Redtail, if you're using that, you can try that out and see how that works, and hopefully that adds some value for you. But I'll be sending out a follow-up email with my information. But for those on the line, before I open up to questions, my name is Todd Gallet. I actually work closely with Jeremy and Securities America on the AdvisoryWorld side, and my number is 818-999-0015, extension 106. Once again, 818-999-0015, extension 106. My name is Todd Gallet. And at this time, with a few minutes left, I will open it up to questions. If anybody had any questions, I will open it up now. Probably the easiest way to coordinate this would be just to type in. So if you do have any questions, just feel free to type them in the chat bar, and we'll be able to address those. So a question came in. So how do I sign up for the free trial? Once again, I will be sending out a follow-up email, or if you want to shoot in the interim, shoot Jeremy an email. He'll forward. I'll be working with everyone individually. So once again, we'll have the opportunity to connect, and we'll get you set up for that free trial and walk you through, and even do a quick review and walk through to make sure you're maximizing that trial period. So the trial period will be 2 weeks. Another question has come in. How do we pay the monthly fee? So it all goes through your broker-dealer. So Jeremy, if you reach out to Jeremy, he'll be able to enable it for you. And then the billing goes through your broker-dealer as, I guess, any other additional charge would through Albridge. So it's paid through the Albridge component in this. And it's just month to month. There's no long-term contract on that. Let's see. My phone number again, sorry. My phone number is 818-999-0015, extension 106. And once again, my name is Todd. And let's see. We've got a bunch of questions. It's great. Let's see here. Are your yes. So the question was, are our reports compliant and approved by SAI? Absolutely. So all of our reports are client-ready and have been approved by Securities America, and again, and are ready for client distribution. So there's no concern there. We've been a long-time partner with both Albridge and Securities America, as Jeremy said. Another question. This is excellent. What are the differences between you and Morningstar? That's a fantastic question. So there's a couple key differentiators aside from cost. One, we're definitely aggressively priced in that market. The second one is the customization capability. One of the things we often hear with users of Morningstar is that they pretty much provide an out-of-the-box, is-what-it-is report, sometimes often way too lengthy. Are much more concise, obviously with some of the things you saw. It's clear, it's more client-friendly, it's brandable, and even the customization, as not even just the branding, but the particular sections you can include or take out, so the customization capability there. The other one is the amount of data we provide. So again, not just security or mutual fund data, anything from bond data to SMAs to ETFs, et cetera, variable annuities. All that information is available to you, as well as it's updated automatically. So everything is updated on a regular basis based on the type of investment. I would say that those are probably some of the key, and then the integrations. So again, having that seamless integration is really strong. Some of the things that aren't available with those partners, Albridge, Redtail, MoneyGuide Pro, some of those integrations are definitely more seamless than you'd find with Morningstar. So a question has come in here. Let's see. Is there additional cost for branding? No. That is all included, and we can help you get that set up. It's all self-branding right through SCANalytics. So as easily as just uploading a logo, and you can even do the color schemes. It's all clickable, so it's really easy to do, and certainly I could help people with that on the branding side. A question has come in, is there any reason to keep Morningstar? I guess that's certainly subjective, but we are certainly an alternative to Morningstar, and I would hope that you would give us the opportunity to be your sole provider of this type of analytics. I think you'd be pleased with the comparison. How current? Again, I mentioned this before. How current is the data in your database? Once again, everything is updated as frequently as it's updated by the, whatever type of investment it is. So security mutual fund data is updated regularly, nightly. Security data is updated nightly. Some of the other types of investments are more spread out as far as how often they're reported, sometimes monthly, quarterly. But as frequently as it's reported, we update it. So we pull these feeds and have it updated. So we're pulling from a variety of different sources, Lipper. We even pull some data from Morningstar on the SMA side. But everything is updated automatically for you within the application. Let's see, did I hit it all? Are your reports compliant? How long have you been in business? So we've been actually in business for over 25 years. We actually have some very strong relationships on the enterprise side, doing modeling and modeling optimization with SEI, S&P, Ladenburg obviously has a relation to you guys. So there's been a long-standing relationship on the enterprise side, and with Albridge. Also, probably 5-10 years we've been working with Albridge and as a sell-through partner to some of their broker-dealers. With the newest iteration of our product, which is the SCANalytics application, we're definitely doing a lot more marketing, and the integrations are key to us. Some of these integrations are very new, like Redtail, MoneyGuide Pro. So it's an exciting time for us. The product itself has just been continually improving. Our biggest thing is making it client-friendly, advisor-friendly, and then even client-ready, and the reports to be clean and concise for a client to use, and the integrations to be seamless. So that's been a key push for us over the last couple years. So I'm certain that you'll be hearing much more about us. And let's see. So I think one of the questions, again, is I think more about tactical. Says the specific transactions need to be entered. So we actually can do, so this is all more hypothetical. So at a high level, all of our analysis is hypothetical. It's based on the current holdings and current allocation and what that portfolio would have done historically. But we actually are able to do tactical analysis. So if you have made trades historically, we actually are able to import those trades, import those transaction changes or allocation changes, and run the analysis accordingly. So that is something that certainly we could take offline on a separate question or a separate call and address that. But absolutely, we are able to handle that. And I think at that, let's see. I think I answered most of the questions, it looks like. Again, I really do appreciate all these questions. One more question was, how do we get the Redtail link? Once again, if you see the screen now, actually, we're in the Redtail. When you go into a client, again, assuming that you pull in client account information, you'll see over to the right, it will say AdvisoryWorld reports, holding scan, and fact sheets. In order to run the holding scan report, you do need to insert a username, which, again, once we set you up on the trial, you'd even be able to try that out. But you can actually run free fact sheets. They're sample fact sheets, but you can actually try that out. It's not brandable or anything like that, but they're almost teaser reports. So you can actually run those and get a feel for those. But once we set you up on the trial, you'll be able to run the full version and try out that integration. Let's see. One of the questions, again, was upmarket and downmarket capture. Again, we touched on that briefly. That is available in a variety of different reports. It's in the detailed analytics report as well as the fact sheets. So once again, if we had to have a separate call or once you get set up for a trial, we certainly could walk through that together. And how to get the Albridge link established, I guess we'll finish off on that. Once again, the product is $95 a month. We are offering a 2-week free trial. In order to do that, I'll follow up with everyone, and or if you have my number, feel free to give me a call or an email. If you want to move forward and set it up, you reach out to Jeremy, and he just turns it on for you. And then by doing so, he'll let me know to get you set up with the appropriate usernames for you in the SCANalytics side. So once again, this was a fabulous call. I appreciate you taking the time, some terrific questions. I look forward to speaking with all of you individually and working with you. Again, thank you for your time. Have a great afternoon. Bye-bye.